Hi, I'm Erin from the Witch of Saturn here with Jay of Iridescent Tarot and our very special guest, Christa from Christa Chronicles.
Woohoo!
Hello.
Welcome.
We're so excited to
Very
have
excited.
you.
I'm excited to be here. I love these deck connectors so much.
Yeah, so this week we all worked with the Future Ancestor Tarot. And how long have you guys had this deck? Have you had it a while, Christa?
Oh, I have. I would say it could be two, maybe 3 years now. Certainly
Oh,
two,
wow.
but maybe three. And what prompted this is because in a recent deck declutter video, I had this in my pile of like, is this one I want to hold on to? But
Interesting.
I just have this feeling, even though it felt like there was like something missing in terms of making a connection with this deck. But you know when you have that feeling of like, but I feel like something's there and I'm just not getting to it? Like there's a reason I haven't let this one go, and I feel like I really wanted to explore that.
Yeah, or sometimes I feel like, is it just not the right time? Like I feel like
Right.
this deck is like has a purpose and I like it, but maybe it's just not like it's not its time to shine yet or something.
Right.
And then, so I watched Chris's decluttering video and I saw her being like, hemming and hawing on this one. And I was like, I want that deck. So then I was like a kid pulling on their mom's sleeve, like, Chris, are you going to get rid of that one? Can I have it? Can you sell it to me? And that's how this kind of came about because she was like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm just going to buy it outright. And then we could do a deck connectors episode on it.
Oh, that's so funny. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
I was
Yeah.
so glad you did that because I was like, it was almost like as soon as you offered to buy it off of me, it was like something inside of me was like, wait,
No.
wait,
Yeah.
no.
That's
No,
why
I can't.
I'm just really glad that you're here for this episode specifically because I feel like we have a connection with this deck now from that whole experience.
Yes, yes. I was curious too, do either of you have that bigger book that she was offering for a little bit?
No, I emailed her and asked because I couldn't find where to purchase it, and she said
Yeah.
that um, she's going to release a PDF version in the next year or so,
Oh my
and
gosh,
that
really?
yeah, just to keep our eyes out for that.
Fabulous. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, because wasn't it very expensive?
Well,
Was.
yeah, I saw like sold listings for $65 or something like that, and I was like, was that real? I don't know.
It was, and
Oh,
because that's what made me think I could have had this 3 years because I want to say it was, oh well, no, 2023, that's 2 years. I want to say that's when she was putting it out, and I remember looking at it when that was the case because I was like, maybe this, because I love any time a full guidebook comes out, I want it
yeah.
because I just love getting more. And so I was like, maybe this is what will do it. And then I just I was flip-flopping on it because yeah, it was $65.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, that's a big chunk of change for a book, you know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like feeling like I could be buying a whole nother indie deck for the price of the book.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully once that comes out, like that'll be a little bit of a supplement. But I will say, with this little pamphlet is really good.
It is. It's
It
really good.
is. It is.
It's just the two-sided, 8 panel, and just the one or two little sentences that are here are just enough to get you started. And they're very broad, and I thought they were excellent.
And they're also like a different take. Like they're very unique. It's not just some regurgitated back
Yes.
meaning of the cards. Like it packs a punch, even though that's kind of like a general description of the card. It's very poignant, that little bit.
Yes.
And that was like one of the things that was a main reason you were hanging on to it, Krista, right? It was that little pamphlet.
Yes, because it was every time I did use it, it always amazes me that in just one or two sentences, she really creates this different reading experience compared to anything else I have. And
Yeah.
so that really, yeah, is what kind of kept me holding on to it of like, I feel like it's that pamphlet I really want to work with more.
Yeah, it's like she can take the traditional meanings of the cards and weave them into like her own artwork and take on the card and condense it, like distill it down into one or two sentences that just it just hits. It's like, oh yeah, like you see it
Yes,
all.
That's
right.
so hard to do. So for the
Yeah.
deck that I'm making right now, I am also doing like a one or two sentence per card. And to be able to tie in the RWS with the image in front of you, it's like it's a very skillful thing to do for her to be able to do it this way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
rena- the renaming of the suits though, I don't know. Like
Yeah. You always have a hard time with that.
I really do. And so you've got the needles and the candles, right? But then the cups and the seeds to me, fine, but needles and candles, sometimes I'm like, candles, are they fire or is candle because you could get burnt and it's sharp and it hurts? I don't know. Like I just feel like candle could be
Right.
air, so it could be swords. So candles I think really throw me.
I don't know. I associate candles with wands pretty clearly. Like I think that for a renaming, it's not as like obtuse as some of the other things I've seen that I'm like, what are we talking about here? You know?
But then you've also got the courts all renamed, which in
Yes.
combination, when you like if I get the explore no the student of candle or the listener of candle, I'm like
Yeah, it's really like the queens and the kings because I get
yeah.
student as page and I get explorer as knight. But then when it was between
Yeah.
listener and maker, I had to, that's when the mental gymnastics kind of came in where I'm like, which
Yes. Yeah, I do agree with that.
can we talk about the art style of this deck? Like, it's a collage, right? Of found natural objects, like the plant per se. Yes, like in this card that we're looking at, Student of Needles, or yeah, like that fern is an actual fern
Yes.
that then
Oh,
like the plants are actual, right? Am
Yeah.
I making this up?
No, it's real. So it's Sumi, there's Sumi ink painting slash drawings and then actual plants.
So
oh
it's
my
like
gosh.
a collage and then ink, which assuming ink is what, like a natural based ink?
That is so interesting. I didn't know that.
Doesn't
Yeah,
that
the
make you like
real.
it more?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I guess maybe I assumed that it was even like I don't know. I guess I thought it was like digital paintings of plants because it does have that kind of
Some of them look strange, but I think it's honestly just the way like a scanner would scan a plant.
Or,
yeah,
or
right.
or did she scan them and then like do a little digital? I don't know.
Could
But
be.
I feel like doesn't it say somewhere
It
there's
was somewhere, I think it was on the website, somewhere online. I don't think the guidebook says it.
using
Fallen leaves and flowers around my home.
yeah, so she
Oh,
didn't use
neat.
actual which I mean I something like that will get me every time. Like a unique process of creating the card
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
bringing in the natural world in that way. I
Sumi
would-
ink is a traditional black ink from East Asia, made from soot, pine or oil, animal glue, and fragrances, sold as solid sticks that are ground with water on a stone, and they're now available pre-mixed in liquid form for convenience.
okay, yeah. So very like natural based
Yes.
process.
And now
Or
that I look at it too, there are some cards like the Listener of Cups. The plants look much more like
yes,
real
like
3D
real plants.
almost.
Yeah, some of
I
the
guess I just
leaves
never
and
did
stuff
notice.
like really don't. They do look more like I don't know, maybe if they've been scaled down, like if they were
Could
bigger
be.
and then scaled down or something.
Like
Um,
Shrinky Dinks. So it reminds me of the Magical Nature Tarot because that
yeah.
was also using collage
Mm,
elements from out in nature between the metals and the plants. And also, it reminds me of Blue Earth Tarot, which I just filmed that walkthrough of because it's that cyanotype process using collage things that are more meaningful than just like you just found a magazine and you cut it out. Like they were using photographic elements from her deceased grandmother.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of ties in. I agree with that comparison with those decks.
And It's like I feel like I'm in my I found my niche era where I just know that I like non-peoply people decks. Like
Okay.
that's my thing.
All right, but
Yes.
what do you call them? Because I like we all like that. We all like not a lot of
Yeah.
people in our decks.
Yes.
But what do you like specifically? Like what do you call these people?
Amorphous blob people.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Amorphous
same kind of
blobbers.
thing with like Reclaim has those amorphous
Yes.
blob people, and
Yes.
like that I'm on board with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like it too. I mean, I do struggle with like I just commented on your Instagram post, Krista, about the Yuletide Tarot. And like
Yes.
when I saw your picture, I'm like, oh my God, I love that deck. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I have that deck and I don't really use it because I don't love the people in it. Like
Right.
sometimes I get hung up on that. I'm trying to work through that right now with my Christmas decks in particular, because both of them I have that issue with. So I'm like trying to work around it.
Right. And I feel like especially that Yuletide one, sometimes I have a hang up because it's more modern looking people. I feel like I have a thing
Yeah.
about that too, where if it's like they seem taken from the past in any way, for whatever reason, I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Then it's okay. But if they're like, if I could see them out on the street right now, it's like, oh no.
If they're
Can't
if they're
do it.
wearing
Enough of that.
jeans, if they're wearing
Yes.
jeans, no.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
jeans
Yes.
are a major no for you. It's
Have
yeah.
jeans been invented yet?
No.
No.
Yeah, I think there is something to that. Like maybe, like for me, I always associated it with just my being an introvert by nature, where I get very peopled out. Like I need a
Mhm.
lot of time to recharge. That I think that once you're bringing in people into my tarot practice, I'm like, well, I'm kind of trying to escape that. You know,
Right.
I like that. Yeah.
there's enough of that already going on just by being, a human being in the civilized world. Like, can I just have some, give me the amorphous blob people?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually.
After I worked with this deck for a few days, I realized that it's almost like so the number one and two deck are Majestic Earth and Playful Heart Tarot. So Playful Heart being amorphous kind of they're not blobs, but like they're not really peoply. And Majestic Earth
Yes.
having no people really. But this deck is like if you took Playful Heart and then you sent it on a silent meditation retreat
Yes,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and it
yes,
came back like this.
yes, totally.
And I
This is a silent meditation retreat deck for sure.
yeah,
Yes.
it's giving the same energy, but like in a peaceful, quiet, gentle, nurturing, protective, hug type energy. And I really, really love it. Like
Yeah,
I love it.
it's like very nurturing, right?
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
holds space. Like what I was just going to say before, so this is a great segue, is that like this was created out of her grief, right?
Yeah.
Like a period of deep grief.
Yeah.
During a period of deep grief, Alexa embarked on a journey of healing through the creation of this body of work. So that healing, right, is just very present in the deck. And I think like because the creation of it is what held space for her to process her own grief, that really comes through as a reader of this deck, where you do feel as though it's like holding space for something bigger. And
Right.
the name of it, Future Ancestor, just automatically like has that lean for me where it's like, is this meant for ancestor work? I'm not sure what the answer to that is, but what do you guys think about that?
The name was kind of beguiling to me because I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I had looked
Right.
on whatever I could find online resource wise, whether it was her website. And I think it what I came to was basically like you're both honoring the ancestors that came before, and also you're honoring the ancestors that will come after you by doing whatever work it is that you're going to be doing with this deck.
Oh, so maybe it's like healing not only these generational patterns, right?
That it's on the 10 of seeds for
It
this,
is
right? Like,
like you couldn't have, yeah, you couldn't have, I'm like, did
yeah,
she do that on purpose? How
no,
fast did you find that? But And then also, like when you do that healing work for yourself, or you hold space to process your grief or any of your emotions, right, to really feel them, like then in turn, you are kind of like breaking those generational patterns or, curses, whatever you would call them, um, for like the future generations to come.
Right. And then those future
Right.
ancestors, these people, the kids, will be the ancestors of the next generation.
Yeah.
So it's like you're paying it forward almost in that healing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. A card that actually came up a few times for me was the Moon card,
Mm.
which its little blurb is dance with your past and future ancestors. You are their wildest dreams. And that
Huh.
card coming up a few times really, that was probably the only card in the deck where the sentence that I was given didn't kind of hit something right away. Because
Mm.
that idea, again, of like dance with your past and future ancestors in relation to the moon card, but what I sort of came around to was thinking about the moon as sort of like things hidden and unknown, unsure, thinking like that each of us, I guess, have I don't know if responsibility is the right word, but maybe a choice in the fact that we get to make all of these choices of like what continues with us, what ends with us, and what starts with us.
Mm.
And saying like you are their wildest dreams of both the past and the future, it to me feels like this idea of almost like you're on the right path here. Whenever that card came up, it was felt like in a way of like even if it's unclear, you're on the right path. Like everyone's cheering you on, you're doing a good job. And so that was kind of how I took it as well.
It kind of reminds me of like when you look at just the dogs in the moon card, right? Where there's that duality of like your primal self, that's that very animalistic side, and then the more like domesticated version, and then there's like that, that balance between like the domesticated dog and the wild wolf. Like maybe she's hinting towards that a little bit with the
Oh yeah.
past and future, like that aspect of the moon card. But then I think that you're right about that, like reassurance of being on the right path, because that's another thing with the moon card that comes up for me sometimes, is that even though we can't see it right now, there is that middle path in the moon that like
Right.
runs forward, like that you're trying to find that middle path between those like two dogs. And like you can't
Yeah.
see it clearly in the moment because it's dark and things don't look the way that they would normally look during the day, but just that like that you can find that middle ground. But I agree with that description kind of being like a little beguiling, like, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And it was interesting that it came up a few times. It was almost like it knew I didn't think about it that hard the first time. That I was kind of like, I don't get it. Okay. It's
Thanks.
Like
like,
you
no,
look at it
you're gonna get
again.
it.
Again.
Yeah. I think it's cool because if you think about the, the wildest dream part being you're having your dreams at night when the moon is up. And in order for you to think about your ancestors in the past, way, way back, you'd have to have like this imagine, like it's your imagination. It's like your wildest dreams of what you're imagining. And then for you to picture what your future ancestors would be down the road, all these different like generations, you also would have to be like really imaginative and dreaming. And I feel like that's maybe how it ties into the moon. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did it come up for you?
Uh, I want to say 2 out of the 5 days.
Mm.
The moon came up twice and the devil came up twice. And so
Ooh.
it's felt like those were kind of shaping the week a little bit.
Yeah. I got the tower twice and I was like,
Oh,
that's my out of all the cards, like I don't really mind some of the more difficult cards, the Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords, whatever, but like the tower is my card that I've shaken my boots. Like and with this deck, you know what I really like about the tower is that It's not even a tower. Like
No.
there's nothing that has to come crumbling down. It's almost like it's the ground that you're standing on that has these cracks in the foundation. And for some reason, to me, it's less scary of a tower when there's not this big, huge structure that's going to come crashing down around me. And it's just like we're on the ground. There's some breakage here, but like, I don't know, just the way that it's depicted was less frightening to me than I feel normally.
Yeah, and I think too, I don't actually know that I've ever really like truly looked at that card, but it's almost this thing as well, since it looks like they're kind of just on the ground that, and in this walking motion of there's a choice there of do you stay to repair the ground underneath or do you just move on?
Mm. Hmm.
I say when I think of the tower, I always think about that there's like some structure in your life that has to be excavated all the way down to the foundation and repaired at that level before you can rebuild, like really getting down to the root of something. And I think that this
Mhm.
card does a good job of like showing that. Like if there's cracks in the
Yeah,
foundation or the ground underneath you, you can't build on top of that. You can't build on
Right.
ground that's not solid. And so I love
right.
this tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has, and this is where I'm coming from when I'm saying it's very gentle and protective because I can access the feeling of like, okay, this is what the tower means without that immediate panic response of seeing the tower in the reading.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it bypasses the visual um
Terror.
terror, yeah, that jarring imagery that like automatically triggers you into like a certain state. Like this
Yeah.
Right.
eliminates that.
Yeah. And it allows me to expand on my understanding of the card and the application of what it's trying to tell me.
So I had like a little bit of a rocky start with this deck. Partially because, and this is why I just really am glad that I figured out and I stand behind the importance for me of laying out the deck, of looking at all of the cards, not just like a flip through, but as a whole. So I'll lay out all of the majors and then all of the suits and just like take it all in, look at each card individually and get a sense for the deck as a whole. And when I do that, things that stand out to me are kind of like the cards or in some cases it's been the suit itself, like where I have kind of like a problem, right? And then this deck, I realized when I did lay it out that there's one card I really don't like. And it was a card that showed up in like one of my very first readings with the deck. Yes, see, you already know. I hate this card
Oh.
Why do you hate it?
Oh.
because I can't tell which end is what. And there's all of these like
I agree. It's giving human centipede.
that's
I mean, yeah.
exactly what it gives me. And I just like so my it was I think it might have even been my first reading with it. I'm not sure. Because I texted you and I was like, I hate this card. Like, why? What? Well, I don't get it. I do. I mean, like that the swords are like in your own head, let's say, or something, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's just I think that the intention is to say that like the problem of the 10 of needles is all in your head.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. But just like the way that it's depicted with the amorphous blob figure on hands and on all fours, I just don't like it. And so, like, if I had
So
laid out the deck,
if it had a head and then the swords were surrounding the head, would that have been better?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
That
because
makes sense to
something
me.
about it is like,
Yeah.
right? It's,
Yeah, I see that.
and so if I had if I lay the deck out before I start working with it, and I know that going in, okay, there's one card, just one, the Ten of Swords, that's like an issue for me, and I pull it, I'm not judging the whole deck. I'm judging the card, right?
That makes sense.
And so if I don't do that step first, and in my first reading, I get the one card that I really hate, I'm like, I don't know about this deck. It kind of is just it's like a skewed perspective or something. So I'm always and I always kind of like make the mistake of not laying out the deck and then being like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Let me do that because that helps me so much. Um, but so once I realized that it was just this one card, I was like, okay. And then I had a really good reading with it. And Jay was funny because she's like, that's all it takes for you. Like one good reading and you're like in on a deck. I'm like, wait, me as a person or like all of us? She's like, no, no, like you. Like I just need one good reading. And I'm like, no, this deck is great.
I totally
I
get
think
that. I feel like I can
yeah.
definitely be the same about decks. Is like if they can just give me something, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, great, you can stay forever. Great.
Yeah. Like it doesn't even matter. I'm like, yes, but back in 2000, it
Yeah.
worked so well.
Right.
Right.
So, okay, let's talk about the week and the structure and working with the deck. So we all did our
Yeah.
deck interviews.
Hmm.
Anybody have anything of like, specific note regarding deck interviews?
So for my interview, two things that came up. Actually, last week it was the together card and the me card that I talked about. And this week again, I'm going to talk about the together card and the me card. So in
Mm.
my deck interview, I got the Nine of Cups for the me card, and Nine of Cups one of my favorites. I really like the Nine of Pentacles, the Nine of Cups, but like this amorphous blob luxuriating in a bath with its nice cup of tea, I was like, this is what you think of me. You love me. How lovely. And then together, I got the Justice card, which
Oh.
I really think it was cool because the write up says all your actions have a ripple effect. Is your future and past self proud? And basically, it's telling me that us together, I'm going to be like looking myself in the face, staring at myself in the face. That is like on your deathbed. Are you going to be thinking, like, did I live a good life? Did I live a life that I'm proud of? Did I make decisions that I stand by? Like, did I make a positive impact on the world? Like, thinking about how I'm going to feel when I die. And that version of me looking back on my younger self and thinking kind of the same
Oh.
thing.
I love that. See,
Yeah.
And yeah.
I would think it would be like you and the deck, like looking at each other, like being very seen.
Yes,
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, I kind of had it both ways in my head. Like,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, something about the mirroring was just really interesting to me.
Yeah, that's very cool. I had something similar actually where how the deck views me, I got the Two of Cups, which was another like
Love
Oh,
it.
two-figure thing. I was like, oh my God, it loves me. What?
yeah.
So nice. Meanwhile, I was just yanking it out of my like timeout bin. Like,
Right.
eek.
Like, don't let it know that you were on the verge.
Right. But it was kind of cool though, because it felt like from this interview spread, which I am not really in the practice of doing interview spreads, but doing this one this week, I was like, no, okay, I really think that's something I should make more of a practice of because pulling a card like this, I was like, wow, okay, no, there must really be something here, like kind of like I was thinking there might be.
Yeah.
And for, but then the rest of it was interesting because how it viewed itself, I got the Five of Candles, and then how we'll work together, I got the Devil.
Ooh,
So it's like,
interesting.
okay, so we're cool. You love me. However, it's coming with a challenge. Like it's interesting because this deck feels very gentle to me, but the things that it's from the get-go, I was like, oh boy, like okay, Five of Candles and then the Devil. And throughout the week, it really felt like it was bringing up more challenging topics than I would have expected it to.
Ooh, okay.
So I got Five of Candles too for the me position.
Ooh,
And
oh,
yeah, and then for us together, I mean, I got a lot of candles. I got candles for the whole spread except for the deck itself and the bottom of the deck, which were seeds. Um,
Mm,
and then I got the nine of candles for us together. But what's crazy about this, and this was like my experience with this deck and why I was like kind of just instantly sold once I really started working with it, was that it did feel like very much and a practice of connecting with my ancestors. And I keep getting this, might sound a little crazy, maybe not, but I keep getting this like very clear message through the tarot of like that I should be lighting a candle as part of my ancestor practice,
Mm.
like a way to honor them and that kind of like ritual behind it. And once I kind of like it's happened in other decks, it's been kind of coming through recently, but like this working with this deck was kind of like I actually did it. I was like, okay, I'm doing it, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
telling me now. But then when I looked back at this, I just thought it was wild how it's like this looks like they're lighting this candle, right?
Yes.
It's all
And
pointing towards the center of like
yes,
light the damn
or like
candle.
these
Yeah.
almost could be matches, right?
Yes.
Like
Mm-hmm.
coming in to light the candle. Or like, is this the ancestors around the candle? And then this is like
Yes.
the amorphous blob person with their third eye open holding the candle. And I don't know, it's just like I was like, that's kind of cool when I looked back because I did my interview, I don't know, maybe like weeks ago or something, not this week. I did it whenever the deck came in, which was fairly recently for me, but not this week. So it was cool.
Are you looking at the deck now as an ancestor deck for you? Because I going in, I kind of thought it was going to be like that for me, but I'm really not. I didn't get that vibe from it after the full week. So are you doing that?
I definitely got that vibe from it. But I also kind of leaned into that. Like the
Yeah.
spread that I did with Library of Questions was benevolent spirits. I was like, oh, I'm gonna like seek out an ancestor kind of related
Mm.
spread for this because that's like who invisibly supports me? How do they do this? How can I thank them? How to learn to notice them? And why do they love me? So that's like a very ancestor spread. In that one, with the how can I thank them, I got the Ace of Candles. It was
Oh yeah,
Oh,
like right, it was
very
like
cool.
light a candle.
very
Yes,
very
totally.
clear, very
It was
clear.
very clear. This was the spread that I did that I was kind of like, oh, like it was like a little eerie. Like I was giving that like nervous side eye of like, oh my gosh.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, hi.
It's that TikTok sound. Hey, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like crickets. I'm like, oh my gosh.
What did everyone pair with?
Oh, I'm excited to hear this.
Oh, I paired with one I feel like was actually I chose three. I kind of cheated a little,
We love
but
it.
I'm glad I did because one of
I feel
them
like cheating
ended up
is
being
extra credit. That's extra credit.
that's so true. Extra credit. That's right. I'm glad I did though, because one of them I didn't end up totally loving the pairing, which the first one I did was the Visionary Enlightened cards. I think that's all there is to the title. But I think there are a few different sets.
I don't recognize that deck.
It's a where did I get this? Tivata Tarot. You know how they do like a lot of like Chinese published decks?
Okay.
Mm.
That's one of those. But there's a bunch of different enlightenment cards, and they each have a different like first word to it. And so this one is very shadowy. And the reason I picked it was because of that devil card coming up a few times. And it
Oh.
wasn't a bad reading per se, but the card I got it's just says partial to one side.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And it was kind of like this in combination with, I think I got it with the moon card that was already kind of stumping me a little bit. And then this card on top of that stumped me a little bit. So it just was like one of those readings that I needed to let simmer for a little bit until I really understood what it was talking about. If I don't even quite remember if I even felt like I totally got there with it.
I wonder for
Um,
that one, I don't know why, but this is coming to mind. If clarifying with the common oracle, aka Dogbone, if that would have helped a little bit, because that one's so clear.
yes.
it might help just like throwing one card down to see what it has to say.
That is a good idea.
Even if you're still
I
chewing on
do
the
like
spread.
that.
Sometimes you just move on.
Yes, because I did like a whole like journal entry on it, but it still was like when you have that feeling of like I don't think I got there with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was sort of the lingering feeling. But the other two oracles I did really enjoy, which was Blooming Lovelies, which is
Yay! That's a deck that I have
that
because
one.
of you.
I love this oracle so much, and what made me think to use it was just the idea of kind of leaning into the style of the tarot of it giving you the one or two sentences and that's it. Where
Yeah.
this oracle, you get whatever's on the card and that's all you're gonna get. And it also is a little bit uh like purposely unclear, which is kind of funny because in the context of pairing these together, I got it. Like it made sense to me.
Cool.
Um, and then the last one I did was the I'm Here Oracle. I did this
Oh,
for that. I
Oh,
think it was the
yeah.
meditative reading, question mark.
yeah.
And this was really, it kind of matched with that gentle energy, but again, leaned into that devil card idea for me of like, okay, but let's look into some things still.
Yeah, and they're
I
like
yeah.
ghosties, right? You have that deck, Jay.
Yeah, I have that deck because of
Yes,
Krista.
this one. So good. It's so good. I got the feel card.
Oh my
So
gosh,
like
this is
it looks
So
so
so,
funny.
cute and gentle,
so
and
cute
paired
and
with that,
gentle.
it looked so soft and nice, but then it was like, but are you feeling your feelings? And it's like, oh, okay. Which was the feeling I got all week from this deck of like, oh, that's so nice looking. And then when I actually got into it, I was like, oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
It's kind of pushy. Like I felt like that with the candle thing, where I kind of felt like it was
Yes,
do it, like, come on
totally.
now.
And the I'm here is another amorphous blob people. Like that it
Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Like ghost. It's like amorphous blob ghosts to me.
Yes.
Very friendly,
Yeah.
Caspery.
Casper.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
I did Poesis.
Hmm.
I
Oh.
thought that they would look better together. I think that the yellowing of the Poesis is not like it didn't give what I wanted it to give, but I still thought the reading was good. Like all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
As fine and dandy as it can be with the tower that second day in a row there. And then the the next spread that I did, I used energy archaeology. It's funny because I don't use energy archaeology as much as I thought I would. I feel like Erin, you really use it a lot.
I use it a lot.
And I don't know why, but this particular day, I just wanted to communicate with my lower back. So I picked specifically lumbar spine out of the deck. And
Cool.
then I read the entry on it, which let me just pull that up really quick. Stability. And so I read the entry, and then there's 4 questions at the bottom, and I pulled a tarot card for each of the questions.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so smart. How did that
Yeah.
work?
Yes.
But wait, did it give you any, like, how did that work, pulling a card for each one of those questions? And did
Yeah.
it give you any information about any, like, I don't know, stuck emotions or things that might have been being felt in the body?
So what it talked about, the keyword for the lumbar spine is stability.
Hmm.
So question 1 is what or who in my life feels stable right now? And I got the 3 of seeds.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, right. Support network. That's us. We knew we were going to be here on time today. We got what or who in my life feels unstable at the moment. And I got the Explorer of Seeds, which to translate is the Knight of Pentacles.
Yeah. Which
So I
just
kind of,
pushing
yeah, go ahead.
something uphill. It's kind of giving Ten of Wands energy, right? Where
Hmm.
It's giving that Sisyphus up the hill vibe.
yes, yes, totally.
Yes. Like I
Totally.
looked at the leaf around its head and like that's the thought bubble of the stuff that it's carrying.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
The student, okay, so this was what are my patterns or protective mechanisms when something feels unstable? I got the Student of Cups. And the quote in the pamphlet was be open and curious in love. But I kind of looked at it more. If I look at the image, it kind of feels like compartmentalization to me, like you're locking yourself
Yeah.
away. We're on the outside, but
Mm.
like you're in there locked away.
Yeah, you're like safe in your cozy little nest, like not come
Yeah.
out, but just peek out the window.
And then the last question was, does my sense of stability depend more on flexibility or stubbornness? And it had a second question that said, where is the balance between those for me? And we got the Maker of Seeds, which is the King
Huh.
of Pentacles. And for this, it said, give and care for your loved ones. And I kind of looked at it like the balancing of the bowl. Like there's four seeds in this bowl, but it's like totally balanced. And the way that you've got the house up here, you've got the sun and then the wind. Everything was like very balanced on either side. So I took this as I was able to balance the bowl, be both flexible and yielding. Um, so
Yeah,
yeah,
or
that was
like
my
get grounded, right? Like that little person is very grounded in like in the home, the structure, that safety, and like rooted in their own living space. And like that could even be food. Like it feels like a very grounded type of
Hmm.
nourishment in that.
hmm yeah. So that was that reading.
Wait, I want to go back really quick. Just have to that like to the eerie ancestor reading that I got.
Yeah.
I wanted to show you guys this because not only did I get the Ace of Candles for that position of like, how can I thank them? But, it says like, who invisibly supports me? I got the High Priestess. That was one of my stalker cards for this
Oh.
deck. And then, how do they do this? And I got the Seven of Needles, and just like the person was right. See? See?
Oh.
So, and then it was like, the Ace of Candles, like, how can I thank them? I'm like, all right, I'm lighting the candle. Like,
Wow.
and I just really liked that. I love when a deck can communicate through its own imagery outside of the
Yes.
RWS codex.
Yes. Yep.
Where with that situation, I don't even care what Seven of Swords means. I care about
Right.
that, like, somebody's right
Yes.
there whispering in my ear, right? Like, I feel like this deck, you could almost trim all the names off and really accurately read with it, just based on what you're seeing in the images alone. Like even with that Explorer of Seeds, like the
Yeah.
Knight of Pentacles, like that's showing something so different from what I usually think of when I'm imagining Knight of Pentacles, right? Like Knight of Pentacles, I'm
Right.
thinking like slow and steady pace with like not rushing in and being very sure of yourself before you're moving forward. Whereas this is giving like something, it's giving that, but also something else. And I just really value that in a deck.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, same.
So I paired with, this is my favorite pairing with this deck, and it's so weird. When Olga speaks.
Very,
Oh,
very ancestral. Very ancestral.
yes.
I went for like the ancestral vibes, but I also love the way it looks together, which is weird. Like they
Show
shouldn't.
I
us.
feel like I could see it. Because also the creations of the two decks, I feel like have a similar root to it. Because I believe When Olga Speaks is also sort of like an homage to her grandmother.
Yes, it
Cool.
is. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
and
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely like you have the common thread of the
that looks great,
collage.
right?
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
just,
I like it. I would never have paired them other than like thinking about the topic, but I do think they look good together.
don't they?
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
weird. Who would have thought these
Interesting.
looked good together? But they look good together. I don't know. I use this. I use this on Thanksgiving as like very
Cool.
intentional, like ancestral gratitude reading, and just a way of like honoring those that have passed on that day specifically. And I was like, blown away by I did it based on the ancestral quality of the decks. And then I was really pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed the way that they looked because as we know, that is important to me. And now I love them together. It's weird. And then I jumped on the Poesis train because I was like, ooh, I saw you post that. I'm like, I'm gonna try that. And I agree with the like off-white versus the stark white, but it
Yeah.
didn't really bother me. There's something about Poesis just being like it's one of my absolute favorite oracles. I just had like instant connection to it. I think it's just so good at its job that like
Hmm.
I could use it with any deck. It's like I can overlook it not being like a perfect match. And I got a great reading with that too. I really liked them together.
I feel like you've really come around to the non-aesthetic pairings.
I
No.
really haven't though. I've been thinking a lot about this since our last.
I'm trying to give you some
I
kudos.
know you really are, and I do appreciate it. And I am um I'm grateful that you think that I've progressed, but I really do think it's just that I make an exception for Poesis and Reclaim, where like, those two decks can just do no wrong for me. Whereas like I also think that Prairie Majesty is a very good oracle that does its job really well, and I can't take that with any deck. Like you start
Mm.
throwing that around with certain decks, and I'm like, oh, no, oh, like it's just so I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you're giving me too much credit.
Well, I mean, yeah, I put Prairie Majesty up in the same category as the other two, so maybe you just don't have the same reverence for it.
Maybe, I don't know. It's just like that's such a maybe it's because I think Poesis and Reclaim almost kind of have a similar art style too, where there's more like solid background. It's kind of neutral, even though it's black and pink
Yeah.
and like cream and black. You're dealing with like whereas Prairie Majesty is like very unique font and pinks and blues and yellows and like that is
Yeah.
when it starts to I
It's
think
very colorful.
yeah, it's like the neutrality of the other two, I think can just
Yeah.
evoke more.
Interesting. So
I
what
definitely get it. I am a aesthetic pair as well. And I'm trying to think because I know in I don't know which video it was when you were talking about it as well, but I've been thinking like, is there any that I even do make an exception for? And I know that there is. Because I think I just have this like group of oracles that I really, really love that kind of are on a bit of an even playing field that there always is going to be one of them that aesthetically works. And I don't know, something about when they don't look quite right, it's like my brain just shuts off to it because I'm like, I know I can't even,
That's how
they
I
don't
am.
even, if they don't look like they would get along, how could they? Which I realize they could,
It just
but
so
does
what decks
something
are
to
in that list for you?
oh, for me, I would say Prairie Majesty is in there. That was one of my first Oracle decks, so she's been around. She's been here. So she is one in that list. Um, Memento Mori is one.
Mm.
I mean the Cottage Witches, because
Yeah,
that
obviously.
one goes with so much of my stuff because I like made it to be that way.
Yeah. Yep.
So Woodland Wardens is in there.
Yep.
It's decks like that.
Got it. Yep, that makes total sense.
Yeah, something about it when it doesn't, and this is just like not just with tarot, it's like even in my whole life. If it's not like if it is aesthetically affronting, it kind of shuts my brain down.
Yeah.
Like if
Hmm.
this does something where there's like this little schism and I'm just like, ah, like I don't like it.
Yes, yes.
And I can't, and then I have to like work around that to get into the reading. And I just like, I don't want to, I'm just gonna not gonna deal with that. Like I'll just make it aesthetically pleasing and
Right.
there's got to be kind of like both for me. Oh,
So
fun.
did anyone want to talk about their last day, the pairing up with a meditative?
I ended up, I don't have that book, but I think I also was unsure, maybe because I don't have that book, what the meditative reading sort of looked like. And I think that purely is because that is just like any sort of classic meditation is just not something that I
Yeah.
do. And so the way I kind of went about it was pairing it with the I'm Here Oracle, which tends to just the nature of this, which really gets into those like underneath feelings for me. And it sort of forces me to pause and really, really think and kind of get in my own, I'm not even gonna say in my own brain, because it it's a deck that I find helps a lot with actually recognizing feelings. Because something for me is I often have trouble connecting, like, okay, I know this feeling is happening. Either I know the feeling's happening, but I can't make the connection to like feeling it in my body, or I'm
Yep.
feeling something in my body, but I'm like, what could it be? I don't know. And so it's a
I get
deck that
that.
I often find helps with making that connection, but it inherently I have to then pause and be like, okay, how
I
is
see.
this word I'm getting like making that connection from brain to body?
I
I
love that. Yeah.
I
That's
totally
it's an
resonate.
alternative route of getting there. Yeah, it totally works.
Yeah, I completely understand that, where I feel like I know I'm feeling something, but it's like under the surface for me is kind of how I describe it, where I'm just like what is this? I can't like there's like a disconnect between the feeling and the like linear thought process, the cognitive
Yeah,
understanding of it. And like that's why I love Reclaim so much. So now I'm feeling like I need to put that deck on my list, the Casper deck, because I love that.
it is a good one. I feel like because I use Reclaim for that as well. And
Yeah.
Reclaim I find is good when I just want the feeling. Where this one I works in a little bit of a different way where it's not going to necessarily, or I find for me, it doesn't tell me exactly what the feeling is, but it helps me figure out what that might be.
Oh,
Mm.
interesting. Interesting. Can you hold one of the cards up so I can see it?
Yes. Or I should say, it like, because this one here just says breathe.
Take three deep
So if I
breaths.
pull that card, I know I kind of just need to pause and maybe
Yeah.
what I'm feeling is just overwhelmed and that it's as simple as that. There's a lot of like activity cards, I guess you could say, like
Yeah,
practical
Yeah. Gives you
things
like
to do,
advice or
venture.
something.
they're
Yes.
directives. Yeah.
Directives. That's a good word.
Yes, that is a great word. And the way the colors are used, like the give card with the pink
Hmm.
kind of radiating out, I like it's like everything feels very purposeful in this card, where to me reclaim is very cut and dry, here's what it is,
And like,
which I love as well.
but sometimes Reclaim is a little too intense or harsh. Like
Yes.
it can be a little cutting at times, I find for me, where I'm like, like, I don't know, where I feel like if I'm in that space where I'm disconnected, right? And then I get something that's kind of like, severing or something that's like
Yes.
intense, like sometimes that doesn't help me in the way that I need it to in that moment. Like I'm a little too vulnerable to take it. Not all the
Right.
time, sometimes. So this feels like a good alternative for
For
that.
sure. And I feel that way with reclaim too, of sometimes even it's like I'll pull a card. I think it's a lot of the times I find the emotions shown in that deck are very, very intense. And sometimes I'm not having like I know enough to know I'm not having an intense emotion like that. So sometimes when I use reclaim, I'm like, okay, well that's dramatic. Like I don't think like if I pulled like a severance card and it just turned out where like I was hungry, I'm like, well, okay, like I don't know if that's quite like the level I need to get to right now.
Covered from your food. Have a
Right,
snack.
right.
Yeah, it's got a level of intensity to it that's not
It
always
does.
doesn't suit every occasion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Totally get it. Jay, what about you for 365 Dow?
So surprisingly, my 365 day was my least making sense day. Like I this is the leading reading where I was like, if I had gotten this earlier on in the journey, I would have been like, oh, I don't know about this. But luckily it was my last day. I was also extremely, extremely tired. So I had 2 nights in a row where I had terrible sleep. And the
Yeah.
day that it happened to be was imbalanced. And the first word here is sleepless nights.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I read the entry and then I pulled okay, so basically the way that this paragraph was laid out was there was an intro, there was a paragraph on the physical, a paragraph on the mental, and the paragraph on the emotional balancing. So I pulled a card for each of those things. So I did
Cool.
a physical card, a mental card, and then an environmental card.
Interesting.
Neat.
So yeah, we had the repeat explorer of seeds and then the repeat maker of cups, which I had gotten on the interview spread. But like, I don't know. I don't feel like I got all the juice out of this reading. I was like so tired that I couldn't extract it well, I guess.
Mm.
Well, and sometimes I find that like 365 Tao is it's so Tao. It's so like that you have to do a lot of work to get from the reading to the cards reading. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
an
Yes.
extra step that has to happen to connect the two because like mine was it was the title was Simplicity and it basically was just like be Tao. You are Tao. You know what I mean? Like that that kind of
Do the Tao.
yeah, after all this study of Tao, there should only be this simple conclusion. There is only us and Tao. No, more simple still is to be Tao itself. Then everything that is Tao is us. And it's just like one of those, like, this is kind of where I get this is like my yoga background and with the spiritual community where there's just, I don't know, I used to say it was because I'm like from New Jersey, where there's just a part of me that's like, you know, like, all right, and like we can't be Dow all the time, you know, like I don't know, I'm just like too cynical or I'm not there yet or something, but that kind of element of like, you know, just everything is love and light and be so positive all the time that comes with the spiritual community like irks me. And
Yeah.
so, but like, so taking, pulling from that, I'm like, okay, simplify and like, what is it that, you know, how can I be the Tao? I use dog bone, which is
Ooh.
a common oracle, which I just call dog bone. And I picked 4 like card positions from that. I just went through and pulled out the words that I thought would match that best. So I did origin, then threshold. Like, where am I starting? Where am I, you know, what am I on the threshold of change? Like, what's the awakening that's then coming from that? And what do I need to detach from? And pulled a card for each of those to kind of like, you know, like where am I at and where can I get to be more Tao? And I liked the way that that worked. There to me with the book, there needs to be this like second step of like the bridge between the book
Yeah.
and
Yep.
right, like the meditation and the reading. That little bit of extra work. I like spirit kittens for that too. If I'm looking
Yes.
for like
Oh.
but that takes more time for me, like
Yes.
to sit there and look through and read, or like I need the Tao entry to be a little less amorphous, like a little more solid to use spirit kitten, I
Hmm.
feel like. Whereas
Yeah.
dog bone, I could be like, okay, can I condense this down into like some keywords
Yeah.
and make a
Cool.
reading from that? So I did that last week too, and I liked it. Good old dog bone.
Yeah. It seems to go well together.
And wait, I have a question about your 365 Tao. So the fact that it like the first phrase was sleepless nights,
Yeah.
how are you figuring out which reading you're doing in the book? Like, are you going through, are you doing 52, 53? Like you got your little bookmark there?
Yep, I just read them each time we do one of our deck connectors week. I read the next one, so I
Okay.
read one of these per week in order.
Yeah, I was just curious. I'm always like, when things line up like that, I'm like, it was so, how did that come to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool because I ended up on the week that we did the Death Doula Oracle. I ended up on the death page, just like happened to end up on that.
Neat.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I just let it ride and see what comes up.
And then I use this table in the back, has the whole book and a day that's associated with each one, like the actual date of the year for both the
Okay.
northern and the southern hemisphere. So whatever date it is that I'm doing the reading, I just find that day and pull it from that.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a little bibliomancy, like a little divination with
Yes.
like the book itself, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's part of why what makes that last one kind of cool. It like adds in an element of bibliomancy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
So, what are final thoughts?
I mean, I'm keeping her. I love this deck.
Well, I knew that you would love this deck like
I'm
before.
working I'm working on finding a good marker to edge this deck with because she's staying.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's part of my kind of initial issue with this deck was that I did buy it pre-owned and pre-edged, and I was not like super, I didn't love the way that this was edged. I'm actually getting, oh, it's not bothering me quite as
Good.
much.
You're getting
Yeah,
around to it.
yeah, but I do.
So, does that mean you're going to keep her?
Oh yeah, I really like it.
Okay. And here's the big one. Christa, what are you going to do?
I think this really, I'm so glad that I did this process with this deck because I really think it sold me on why I've just been hanging on to it for so long without really knowing why. And I think part of the thing is that I think I have this preconceived notion of it being very gentle. And not that obviously, like, I like gentle decks, but it was like in a way that I wasn't quite understanding. And I think what it comes down to is that it has, for me, how it reads is it's got this gentle appearance, but it does get into some of that ancestral stuff in
Hmm.
a bit of a confronting way. And I think it was just like I needed to be in a place where I understood that connection. And I just don't think that was the case until now. So it was one of, like you were saying, of like, it just maybe wasn't its time yet.
Mhm.
And so I felt like this pull to hang on to it. But sometimes when I'm going through my decks to be like, okay, what just do I not use?
Yeah.
It's always, I like kind of thinking through like why is that? And I think doing this process, it was just like, okay, this is a tarot for a purpose that I just didn't really need until now. And
Hmm.
so she's definitely going to stay. I'm very
Yay.
excited for that PDF to come out.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yes, because I think too, it was like, well, it was the $65, but then also getting the book and not being sure if I wanted more
Yes.
Mm.
because that pamphlet feels so, those two sentences feel so good and feel like such an aspect of this deck that it was sort of like, okay, I also, it's like, it's buying the book for that amount of money, but then also, do I want more? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think the PDF will be a good middle ground of like, I can check it out. I'm assuming at a cheaper price. I guess I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
$65 PDF.
Right. And then if I decide I like no, I absolutely don't want it, then it's just a file saved somewhere in the ether of my computers.
Yeah, and then even if you did get rid of the deck, like you can still look at the file because you liked the write-ups in the pamphlet enough that like maybe just the guidebook will be something that you love.
Right,
Dave,
that's true.
so Krista, what did you think about the actual structure of Deck Connectors Club, like the 5 days that we kind of outlined? Do you feel like it works to kind of get to the root of your connection to the deck or how you experience it? Do you think that it's kind of like what do you think about it?
I really liked it. Again, this was one that it's like I didn't feel a connection to, and by the end of the 5 days, I did. And so I really liked the process because I think it also I am someone who every reading I do, I'm going to have an oracle deck in there. And so sometimes I think maybe I don't connect with tarot as much as oracle because of that. Because I'll use oracle on its own, but I don't know, I just don't use tarot on its own. But this pushed me to do that. And I found that really, really helpful of like, no, the focus is this deck. Like it's not necessarily the pairings all the time or like how it only works with these other decks. It's like we're focusing on that one thing. And I think like the way you guys outlined these days, it's sort of I almost think brought in a couple like a few different ways I've seen people work with their decks somehow distilled to 5 days where it was like those two oracle days was my comfort zone. But then the meditation day and the first 2 days pushed me outside of the comfort zone, which was good. And so it's felt like this perfect balance that I feel like anyone doing it would have like, oh, this day I feel like I know how to do that. I can do that. But then a challenge as well.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
That is good to hear. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I keep thinking that I would want to add in is a like 3 card pull from just the deck. Like an interview, and then you have working with it within a spread, right? Which sometimes is challenging for me. And then the 2 oracle days, which also sometimes is not so much anymore, but like a couple of months ago before we started doing this, I was like, what's the point of oracle? Like, I don't know. It just didn't like, I've done a lot of work to get there with using oracle decks with tarot, but I do love just like laying down 3 cards from a tarot deck and seeing what they say. Like, that's the only thing I think is kind of
Right.
missing.
It could be interesting to even do almost like a 3 card spread at the end to kind of wrap up the week.
Yeah,
Ooh, I
Could
like
be
that.
I
interesting.
like that. I like that
Well,
too.
we're gonna add. I mean, some weeks we barely can function with the 5 days,
No,
so.
that's the thing. There's only so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
days.
But
Like,
I like the idea. That'll
I
be the
know.
extra credit day.
Yeah, that should be extra credit
Right.
assignment.
And it could even be like even right before you start recording, you could just like put down 3 cards and not even think about them yet, and you could kind of
Oh
analyze them. I don't know. I don't know if you like
I
doing that,
like
but analyze them like
that.
live kind of thing.
my
No,
God, that's such a cool idea.
that is such a cool idea. Sometimes right
That
before
could
we
be
record,
interesting.
I'm doing day 5. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like
Yep.
waiting for Jay to log in, and I'm like quickly throwing cards.
Throwing down.
Like,
Oh,
crap.
I want to read you guys the email from the creator just so that you know it's actually not a year away. I got her emails mixed up. So I said, blah blah blah, is your book available? Do you offer it as a PDF? And she said, thanks for checking in, blah blah blah. I plan to offer it as a downloadable PDF people can purchase from my website or Etsy. My goal is to get this out in early December. And then I said, blah, blah, blah. Will it also be available in physical form too, or only PDF? And she said, I plan on releasing it again in physical form, but not for at least a year. I need time to revise, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I got the year from, but the PDF should be soon.
Oh, exciting. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
So,
very exciting. Like Merry Christmas.
yeah. So keep your eyes
Yeah.
peeled for that.
Fabulous.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. I think that this was a great week. Krista, thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. It was totally
Yes, thank you for having me. I loved it. That was so fun.
oh good. Yeah, we
And
totally had our fangirl moment about it. So
yeah. And you're going to keep following along in your journal, you said?
Yes, I have a whole plan of like I think I've got for December, I've got had a few of the decks, but I have a plan for like if I don't have the deck, one that is comparable that I'll follow along with.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Keep us
That's
posted.
so cool. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Talk to you later. Signing out.